The concept for the virtual mix rack first came to me when I was using a typical channel strip plugin. Now, I loved the slick workflow of having your entire processing chain all in the same GUI, but I didn't like how limiting it was to be confined to only one brand of processor. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a channel strip that could be made up of my favorite gear from all types of classic audio manufacturers? Like, why couldn't I have a tube mixing console input stage, a colorful British discrete EQ, a distressor, and then a harmonic enhancer as my dream channel strip? And that was the initial mission for VMR, the modular channel strip of your dreams. But at some point, things started to verge less towards custom dream channel strips and more to a rack that held plugins. For instance, when you load VMR, you don't see a channel strip, you see an empty rack that you have to populate. Well, unless you use the Save As Default feature, which no one did because it was hidden in a menu. Anyway, VMR has been a massive success and can be heard on countless records, but despite that fact, it never actually embodied my initial intended concept. Until now. VMR 2.0 has a lot of cool new features that I'm going to show you soon, but the most significant feature in VMR 2.0 is rightfully called the Dream Strip feature. At first, this feature is going to seem simple, but I promise you that in use, it's going to enhance your workflow by tenfold. Dream strips are 8 instantly recallable custom channel strip configurations that are laid across the top of the plugin as buttons. The farmost left button will become the default channel strip when VMR first loads. You can drag and drop the Dream Strip buttons and decide which one will be your VMR default. So why is this going to be a game changer? Well, whereas before the workflow of VMR was populating plugins in a plugin rack, now the VMR is a plugin that will load your own custom Dream channel strips instantly. It comes with 7 default Dream strips, although you can remove them and make your own. Let me take you through some of the VMR Dream Strip workflow so you can better understand the concept. When I first load VMR, instead of seeing an empty rack, you see your farmost left Dream Strip. In this case, my default is my most versatile channel strip chain. It's a British console line input to a British mixing EQ, and then another British discrete EQ, and then the FG Stress distressor emulation, then revival, and finally trim for output level and metering. Now, I can mix a lot of tracks with this channel strip alone, but I have other instantly recallable Dream channel strips as well. So here's a track that is super boring. So I hit my Dream strip called Extreme, and that loads a custom channel strip of processors that are all known for creating an explosive sound like the Monster. Okay, here's a bass track that needs more sub. So I just hit my Deep strip, and that has a fat tube preamp, the custom EQ, which has some really nice sub-bass curves, the Earth module, which has an incredible sub sound, and then the FG116 Blue Modern, which retains low end really well. You may want to customize this Dream strip with some other modules, it's up to you. But now that I've pulled it up, I can quickly get the sound I want. Here's a synth track that sounds a bit digital. So I'll hit my Vibe strip, which has all of my most colorful processors. VMR 2.0 installs with 7 default Dream strips, but you can have a maximum of 8 Dream strips total. You can remove the default strips and customize your own. Just select your modules to create your Dream channel strip, and when you save it, check Dream strip, and then it appears as a button. Again, to make it your default strip when VMR loads, just drag it to the left. And if you're an old school VMR user who still wants to load a blank rack, just save a blank rack and drag it to the left. Nothing about the old workflow is gone, we've just added to it. Some of you may be asking, why is there a maximum of 8 Dream strip buttons? And the answer is because when you start to overload your options, you have a diminishing return. I want you to really get to know your 8 Dream Strip channels so that when you start listening to a raw track, you immediately know which strip to call on. Going beyond 8 is going to make it really difficult for your mind to grasp that concept. And furthermore, if you need more options, you have the classic preset browser. You can check out more of the Dream Strip feature in action in my vlog, Mixing with VMR 2.0 Dream Strips. But now let's discuss VMR 2.0's other new features. We added a new clear button to immediately clear the rack. That's going to come in handy. And here's one that you'll all love. You can undo and redo if you make mistakes or if you need to go back. So if this chain is sounding great and then the bass player comes in and cranks more bass and adds some compression when you're not looking, just hit undo twice and you're back. And by the way, never allow bass players to mess with your mix. Another tweak we made that was heavily requested was removing noise from some of the vintage analog modules like the FGN and FGS EQs. The browser is much slicker since you can now go into thumbnail mode or a new list mode, and we also added a new search function. In the past year, we added some modules like the Virtual Tube Collection, which can go into heavy saturation and distortion. And therefore, if you're using a lower sample rate like 44.1, we added an oversampling option. Now be careful, there's a lot of misconceptions about oversampling. It's not an automatic better button, and unless you're distorting at low sample rates, I actually recommend to leave it off because it's going to add latency and it's going to tax your CPU more. But when you need it, it's there. Finally, we've made other little optimizations like much faster loading times. We've also added a ton of new full channel presets that were made from the new default Dream Strip channels. These full channel strip presets are a great starting point for your tracks and will really help you get to know the sonic beauty of the analog modeled gear. So I hope you enjoy VMR 2.0, which is a free update for both Everything Bundle members as well as purchasers. Be sure to also watch my new vlog where I mix a song in real time using the new Dream Strip custom channel strip feature of VMR 2.0. And with that, happy mixing.